Hello, welcome back to the L1 show. Today is December 22nd. You have no time to get your Christmas gifts. I guess you have a little bit, but probably no time to get your Christmas gifts.
It's going to be a rough shopping day.
Yeah, bad weekend. But you can make it a little bit better by listening to our little program here.
On your drive to your Christmas destination, listen to it on repeat, obviously. And we'll tell you about AI and the hot new things that are happening in AI. And you probably thought to yourself, man, I'm just too stupid to read and look at news stories. Now, of course, you can come here and we'll do it for you.
Yeah, obviously.
But you're thinking maybe I need more than that. I need a robot to curate the news and protect me from that horrible disinformation. Well, you're in luck.
OpenAI and Axel Springer strike unprecedented deal to offer news in ChatGPT. Now, you may have a moment sometimes when you're watching this show where you're like, is this AI generated? But I can assure you, it is horrifically organic.
You mean us?
Yeah.
Oh, clearly.
No. This is every stupid thing you hear on this show, we generated that in our own twisted minds.
They use the same thumbnail here.
I noticed that when I was reading the stories because they were sorted the same way. And I was like, oh, did I click the same link twice? But I didn't.
Now, you might be thinking OpenAI, they're the company of the year. They made $1 billion. They're doing great, right? But when it comes to their corporate structure, it's a little more complicated than that.
OpenAI's nonprofit arm showed revenue of $45,000 last year, even though the company is worth billions. This article I was like, is this just kind of a hit piece? Because isn't this true of like just about every company? I'm so hungry, sorry.
No, your average startup has to report other things. It's because they're like a nonprofit that owns a for-profit.
Right.
But they point out that Mozilla does the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, it's just tax loopholes that they all jump through to.
Probably shouldn't exist.
Probably shouldn't, and yet.
Plus Microsoft is in there.
Yeah, it's pumping money into them.
It's a tangled web. Yeah, we should probably not have that. But you're not a ChatGPT user, right?
No, I don't use it.
I use it pretty heavily. It's become a bit of a crutch, I'm afraid, because it's very, very useful for programming. Insanely useful. Even when it's wrong a lot of the times, you can sort of cherry pick what's good and use it. And I don't know if I've noticed this a lot. It's slower, that's for sure. But I don't know if I've noticed this.
ChatGPT users say the bot is getting lazy and sassy. One theory says it may be wrapping up for the holidays. I love this theory. This was probably one of my favorite stories this week, is that it's just feeling a little, little lethargic because of the holidays.
Now, OpenAI has responded to this, and they said, we haven't updated it since November. It's the same as it was in November. So if this is the case, then it's because it's picking up on this from the training material, but I don't think the training material is necessarily dated.
No.
I think this is just anthropomorphizing by its users.
Or maybe they're just maybe users are putting in bad prompts because they're feeling a little lethargic and
could be
and
they're asking more of it.
Yeah,
because they don't want to do anything. And this is an interesting one. I wonder if this is another just PR piece.
I thought it was a PR
from
piece.
OpenAI, because I'm not sure how you would measure this. And then when you look into it, you measure it by self-reporting, which is not very reliable.
ChatGPT did not increase cheating in high school. Stanford researchers find it was anonymous, quote, but if I was in school and they asked me to admit that I was cheating and I know that they had a no cheating policy that would probably get me kicked out, I would not tell anybody.
And you're currently getting away with it and cruising through school.
Yeah.
And so why would you poison that?
Yeah. I need to have a certain GPA to get into the college I want to get into. No, I'm not going to tell you I'm cheating.
I think the real headline there is that teenagers lie.
People lie.
And well, teenagers in particular. And another thing that will lie to you is AI, because it will hallucinate. But this one isn't about teaching you things that you don't know. It's about teaching the things that you've already lived.
Google weighs Gemini AI project to tell people their life story using phone data and photos.
I already know that story.
Yeah, I live it every day. I feel like my story wouldn't be very interesting. They would look at my photos and be like, there's a lot of pictures of flowers and plants in here. And then she literally stays in the same place 90% of the time.
Mine would go to my social media to give me my story and be like, oh, I'm sorry, sir, you don't exist. Here, what I know about you is you have cats.
Yeah, thousands of animal photos and flower pictures and then nothing else.
Actually, it would probably be shockingly disturbing what it would know about us.
Yeah, well, it'd probably be like, you look at junk on Facebook Marketplace too much.
Well, Google is also going to get into the image generation business. I mean, it's already got a couple of these models, but it claims this new one is even better.
Google debuts Imagen 2 with text and logo generation. Were there any examples of this? I tried to look at the link that they had in here, and I didn't see any examples in the press release.
I didn't search that hard. I don't get hyped about the new models that much.
No.
I mean, it's a constant supply of them.
Well, the fact that they didn't show any images of what those logos look like, maybe there was somewhere and I just missed it, but...
Now, what they claim here is that this is going to give you the ability to talk about the image, right? Not just give it text to generate an image, but then once you have an image, you can talk about different parts of the image.
Get an artist statement.
You can be like, hey, the hands are messed up. Fix the hands. Or let's focus on the top corner and, change that somehow. So apparently more granular in terms of your text interaction. And we learned last week that it was, what was the one last week?
It wasn't Humana, it was someone else.
Yeah, another
big healthcare.
That they were using AI to deny claims, basically. The AI was kind of the scapegoat to not pay your insurance and not give you health care. And now we learn that there's another one.
Humana also using AI tool with 90% error rate to deny care, lawsuit claims.
Humana was like, that's a 90% success rate.
Yeah, that means we don't have to pay. And they just give us money for literally nothing. You know how much money I would save month to month if I didn't have to pay for health insurance?
I know exactly what I would pay because, you know what? And they reported that inflation was going down. And one of the big reasons inflation was going down was because health insurance costs went down. Mine's going up $100 a month.
Wow. Yeah. Mine hasn't gone up that much. But it is still
it
outrageously high.
It will. As you age, they want more and more of your blood. And when it comes to AI investors, who is out there just showering all the money that is keeping these AI companies in business? Well, it turns out it's the same people who are reaping all the rewards. Kind of a closed loop here.
Nvidia emerges as leading investor in AI companies. Not surprising considering Nvidia benefits from AI companies.
Every new language model that comes out means more H100s get sold. It makes a lot of sense. And if you're looking for some fast food this holiday season, do they still do holiday themed menu items at most of these places?
I don't know. I don't go through Drive-Thru super often.
Yeah,
I don't like Wendy's that well.
The disappointment of the modern fast food has turned me off completely.
Yeah.
But if you are into that kind of thing, you will no longer be talking to a human.
Wendy's gets Frosty with Drive-Thru attendants. Will automate with Google AI. This is a week after McDonald's, always behind McDonald's. They're never going to take that crown.
Poor Wendy.
Yeah.
Now, we do have something, I did not sort this correctly because that's a nonsense, but we have a secret about those AIs later on. Now, let's look back at Sports Illustrated, who blatantly used a language model to generate a bunch of articles. They turned out to be nonsensical and insulting, and a lot of people were upset.
Arena Group CEO fired following Sports Illustrated AI articles controversy. They backpedaled on this initially and were like, no, we didn't do that. We definitely didn't do that. And
but they also deleted all the articles.
Yeah.
So it turns out they did do that, and they were told to do that. So this guy's going to fall on the sword.
I'm sure he has a lovely parachute.
Yeah, he's going to be all right. You know what? I don't think his Christmas will be impacted that much.
No.
He might not get to go to France for Christmas.
That's tragic.
He might have to spend Christmas in the Hamptons this year.
Ugh, that's embarrassing for all his other rich friends who are going to be in France partying it up.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I almost got this sort correct.
An AI fast food drive-thru is mostly just human workers in the Philippines. I like how just blunt that headline is. Like, it's just, that's what it is.
How soul-crushing do you think that job is?
Oh, it's miserable. It's miserable working with the public in general, but working with them from a remote. Though, I do wonder, do you think people are less abusive if they think you're a robot? Or do you think they become more abusive?
You should, if you saw how I treated ChatGPT, you'd be like, he should be locked up. I have no tolerance for ChatGPT.
It was just the one AI company, I guess, that got caught doing this, so I'm sure others will follow.
Well, a lot of them are probably using the system and not calling it AI. Wendell keeps talking about rallies. Is rallies and checkers the same thing?
I'm not sure.
They mentioned checkers in here.
My husband and I went out to eat last weekend, and we were near rallies. We didn't go to rallies. And he was talking about how he used to go there a lot in high school. I was like, oh, but rallies is like fancy. And he was like, what? I thought rallies was fancy because like our little town didn't have one.
No, rallies is...
I was like, that's like nice fast food because
Rallies is like, it's the
we
same.
didn't have one.
It's the same food, but they don't give you anywhere to eat. It's like, yeah, just take your garbage and leave.
leave. But in my mind, anything that was like you had to drive to the next town over, that was fancy food growing up.
Well,
I got made fun of a lot by my husband for that.
does anybody have engagement challenge? Have you been to a rallies? And is rallies the same as checkers? And did you talk to... I don't think you think you hear like the Filipino voices, right?
Probably not.
I think it's a text prompt.
It's probably literally just like buttons they press and it talks for them.
Which is pretty impressive.
But it's still human. They just don't have to pay him as much or do labor laws.
Globalism. And we've seen so many stories like this, even before the AI revolution. So this is not that surprising.
AI is good as doctors at checking x-rays, says study. That was probably penned by an AI.
It's easy to test because you just you get the results and then you go back and let the AI look at them, and it turns out they're great. Healthcare will be almost entirely AI driven in 10 years. How terrifying is that?
If someone actually checked it, it might be fine, but people are not going to be checking it.
And as I enter into a time, like you hit a certain age, you can't avoid healthcare.
Right.
It's going to be bad. It's going to be way worse for you.
And any younger members of our audience will be way worse for them. Like that's just...
They'll probably be killed by that time.
They'll be in the wasteland,
They'll be murdered by
eating
drone.
cockroaches by that point.
We do need to regulate AI, I guess, but who has the authority to do it? Perhaps this man.
Pope Francis calls for binding global treaty to regulate AI. Okay. No one's going to agree to this. I mean, they kind of did this already, right? Where they were like, we're going to regulate AI, and a bunch of people signed it, but it's non-binding, so who cares?
What did Jesus say about AI?
Literally nothing.
That was a big oversight for him, leaving that out. He should have prepared us. And when it comes to, powering the compute that we need to run all this AI, perhaps we're looking in the wrong direction with these semiconductors and transistors. Maybe the real quality computing is already right here inside of us.
Human brain cells hooked up to a chip can do speech recognition.
Every day closer to Warhammer. Leaping toward it, not crawling toward it. Running toward it.
Do you think when they come out with the new television show, do you think they'll tune it down a little bit?
I hope not. Because that was the whole vibe of it.
Was that it was supposed to be really... I don't know a whole lot about Warhammer, but everything I've read about it, it seems pretty brutal.
It doesn't make sense that constant state of war exists unless the world is that dark. But the argument is like, we have to be this evil to compete with the Xenos and the heretics, because otherwise they'll just overrun us. So we have to be as horrible as they are, which is kind of how our law enforcement agencies operate, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Well, one thing's for sure, all of your apps and all of your cloud programs and everything is getting AI, whether you like it or not, and whether you turn it on or not.
Dropbox spooks users with new AI features that send data to OpenAI when used. The only way this picture could have gotten any better is if they had just applied a slow zoom to it and made it an animated GIF. So it slowly zoomed in on that guy's face.
I like to see a cat jump up and attack his face at the end of it.
It's easier to do the zoom.
So you can turn it on and off here. It's on by default, of course.
It always is on by default.
And it will let you search using plain language via AI. So if you have a file or an archive file or something like that, apparently you can interact with text and have it help you find things.
That's not worth it.
I don't want that.
I'm sure Google is already working on that. It's like...
I don't actually even need Dropbox until somebody who doesn't understand SSH wants a file from me. And I don't need AI to step into that situation. Well, it's been a tough week for a lot of companies, of course, Twitter and a lot of these other Apple getting the big ruling, Google getting the epic ruling, but I don't think anybody failed quite as hard this week as Cruise.
Exclusive. GM's Cruise robotaxi unit dismisses 9 executives after safety probe.
That's pretty bad, but then
It gets worse. GM's Cruise laying off 900 employees, or 24% of its workforce. Read the memo here. It was literally like a live stream, wasn't it? Didn't he tell them like, oh, sorry, it's right before Christmas. Bye.
they do that over those Zoom calls a lot now.
Yeah.
So I suspect that the full self-driving Tesla ruling spooked a lot of people. Plus, the Cruise murders and all that business. And probably
The other guy just left, the other CEO.
Well, I'm thinking that somebody, like asked the hard questions. It's like, are these cars really driving themselves? And somebody was like,
It's people in the Philippines.
yeah. So no more Cruise. Tough. And tough for Tesla. Again, they have lost because they have said that these cars drive themselves, and it has been determined they do not.
Tesla recalls nearly all 2 million of its vehicles on U.S. roads.
Now, recall, this is an over-the-air software update. So you're going to get a letter that says, hey, the full self-driving thing, that doesn't work.
So please don't.
The update is going to enforce much stricter rules on having your hand on the wheel and monitoring all that stuff. So more monitoring and telemetry. Yay. How much do you pay for that car? That spot on you?
So much.
And we have learned that, often Tesla, when these horrible accidents happen, Tesla's like, oh, they probably weren't even using self-driving. That was probably driver error. Well, now we have conclusive evidence.
Virginia Sheriff's Office says Tesla was running on autopilot moments before tractor-trailer crash.
Teslas cannot differentiate the side of a tractor-trailer with the sky behind it. They will plow right into them every time.
That's so interesting. There's some poor developer who's having to look at that edge case and figure out why that's happening.
But he's doing a terrible job.
Yeah.
Developer. Try harder. And there's also some developers that have to look at this every day.
Meet Alter 3, the creepy new humanoid robot powered by OpenAI GPT-4.
That face.
It's doing a real creepy little dance there.
So what this is actually text to movement, basically. So you say, for example, dab. You can tell this guy to dab.
I don't think kids dab anymore. I still think it's funny to dab.
What he will do is he will go out to ChatGPT and discuss with it what body movements are required to dab in text. Then he will interpret that into his own movements and show you the dab.
I wonder what dance he's doing there.
They also refer to the infinite dab here. Do you know the difference between a dab and an infinite dab?
No.
This guy does.
Oh.
And it's a big rip this week. Pour one out. He's not dead yet, but we may never speak to him again.
NASA's Voyager probe stopped communicating, and there's no quick fix. He's way, way far out there taking all kinds of measurements, and we can't get them.
15 billion miles. Now, it was not necessarily expected to perform as long as it did. This is an old gentleman here, but it's sad to see.
Yeah. Bummer right before Christmas, too.
Oh, his Christmas message will be to his family. He won't be able to get back.
Oh.
And of course, we had a black hole story. This one wasn't that exciting.
No, it really wasn't.
But it is kind of interesting if you're into black holes, I guess.
Are tiny black holes hiding within giant stars? Usually whenever a headline is a question like this, the answer is no.
Well, the answer here is we don't know.
Yeah, the answer is what?
No one understands. The idea is we're trying to find dark matter. Some people posit that dark matter is coming from tiny, tiny black holes that we can't really observe, and that's why we don't know where they are. And this guy's saying, what if a star formed around that, and then the black hole became the engine of the star? It feels like it's just...
Yeah, I got this, pass the blunt, man.
No, pass some funding.
Yeah.
Pass some funding to my department.
He took some of the, funding people out to dinner and was like, what if? And they didn't really understand it, but they're like, that sounds really cool.
And here's a terrifying reality. Ugh. If you are looking to get some fertility treatments, apparently the way they described this was there would be a random person from that office which I guess are all doctors. So maybe you're like, yeah, that's some pretty good DNA, whatever. But it wasn't random.
Woman accuses Boston fertility doctor of secretly inseminating her with his own sperm in lawsuit spurred by DNA kit discovery.
So I guess this is the daughter, and she she broke out a 23andMe or something.
Ooh.
And was like, oh yeah, you're this person's daughter. And she was like, what?
That's our family doctor.
So the doc. Now, do you think he did that just as like, I don't have time for this, or did he enjoy that idea?
I feel like you do that on purpose. It's probably like some sort of
Well, he
kink.
definitely did it on purpose. I mean, the
Oh,
extraction.
yeah.
Here's an interesting one. Now, Pokemon Go, I did not realize was still hot.
Pokemon's still really popular. Actually, after we shoot today, I have to go pick up some Christmas gifts, and I think one of the things I'm going to have to get is Pokemon themed.
Now, I know Pokemon cards are
Yes.
still big, but I didn't know Pokemon
Huge.
Go. But apparently, this is still causing controversies.
Former Pennsylvania mayor gets prison time in Pokemon Go shooting.
So there's not a lot of details here, but apparently they were outside of a food bank, and these people were hunting some Pokemon there. And this woman stumbled out drunkenly, screamed at them to leave, and then fired off a couple of warning shots. She was a 2-term mayor.
You know, sometimes you just get sick of these Pokemon hunters.
Oh my goodness.
I have no idea what this one said.
Oh, here we go. It's fine.
In hypochondria
No,
paradox,
I didn't change the thing.
a
yet.
new study.
What are you doing? Okay,
I'm trying to catch it before
we got to time it correctly.
Okay, hit refresh. In hypochondria paradox, a new study finds those who fear serious illness tend to die earlier.
You feel like you're in this? Are you a little bit of hypochondriac? I know you're nervous about a lot of things.
I'm nervous about a lot, but I'm not really nervous about my health very often. I haven't had any major health scares. When I figured out I had anxiety, I did, because I thought I had a heart problem. And then they were like, no, your heart's just freaking out because you're having a panic attack.
Yeah, I've had a pretty good run of health-related stuff. The kidney stones were my first big
Real.
health
Yeah.
thing. And as I've learned, it's just like you just have to suffer. There's nothing they can do. All they're going to do is charge you money.
That was basically what they told me for the panic attacks too. They're like, well, you know, cope and seethe, I guess.
Now, some people do have some terrible health-related problems, and they might be self-inflicted, but that has now been designated an official disability.
Southwest Airlines celebrated for policy to give a full row to passengers of size for free.
So apparently this is a life hack. If you are big enough to breach the armrest, your girth has to go onto someone else's environment through the armrest. You can request, they have a row on the plane, or you can request to go and you get 2 free seats to be with the others of your kind.
I guess, is that like an accommodation?
Well, I think it's not for you, it's for the people next to you.
Right.
I don't know.
I don't fly on airplanes a whole lot, but that would probably be nice.
They can afford it. You know what? That's fine.
Oh, this is a cool story. This is sad because it was a tornado right before Christmas, but the video was really cool.
Also, what clickbait here?
Oh, yeah.
Epic clickbait.
An internet video purportedly shows a tornado being blown up. Is that possible? No, the tornado persisted, but the video is so cool because it hits like an electric station and you see like the flames swirl up the tornado, and the tornado kind of like, it almost looks like it stutters for a second and then it resumes.
Everybody knows that tornadoes are strong against electrical attacks.
Obviously.
So I don't even know what they were trying to do here.
It was a cool video though. If
Where
you
do
like
you-
weather-related videos.
Where do you stand on vegetable? Well, let's do the headline.
You say potato, I say it's a vegetable. A loaded topic for debate.
I get it because loaded potatoes.
Big
Where
potato.
do you stand on this one?
I say potatoes are a vegetable. I understand people are like, no, they're just starches, but like I grow them in the dirt with my other vegetables. So
We go, is corn a vegetable?
yeah,
Is wheat a vegetable?
that's a good question.
No,
Wheat,
it's a grain.
yeah, it's a grain.
That's what they're saying about potatoes are the highest glycemic index food that we think of as a vegetable.
That's for like when there was a channel I watched that does like a survival challenge with gardening, and he grew a lot of potatoes because it was the most high calorie thing he could grow. Everything else he had to trade
But
for.
you can't live off of it.
No.
You'll get that distended belly. I don't know. The argument here is like, why are we even having this argument, you think? Well, because a lot of people are saying that, like, no, French fries are an acceptable food for school lunches.
It's like, well, I wouldn't classify that as a vegetable.
Well, it's
But you,
potatoes.
but you could do like there's probably healthier preparations than frying them up in oil and then covering them in ketchup.
So delicious, though.
That is good.
All those poofas. Yeah, this is a town that this is the industry controlling a small town, and you hate to see it.
Channel View's dangerous secret. The secret is there's chemicals everywhere, and they have a very high instance of leukemia.
This was a benzene. Is that what it was?
Yeah. A few years ago, there was benzene found in a lot of sunscreen brands, which was weird.
So this
A lot
is
of them got recalled.
some sort of manufacturing, and they released benzene into the environment, and apparently there's too much, and you shouldn't be exposed to it. But they've only increased the amount over the years.
Huh. It was sad. I included that, and then I was like, this is kind of a sad story to include in nonsense, but I put it in there anyway.
Well, if you want to be good for the environment, you want to eat the bugs this Christmas, be a good little global citizen, maybe you should look to Tesco for your Christmas stuffing, even though they're trying to recall it.
Tesco recalls Christmas stuffing mix because it may contain moths.
I'm not like horrified by the idea of eating moths. Are they hygienically prepared?
Yeah, if they're not, you probably wouldn't even taste them in stuffing,
It's
right?
ground up. It's not even.
Yeah.
It's not even stuffing. It's stuffing mix. I think it's like a powder.
I feel like, yeah, you wouldn't notice. I mean, it's still not great. It must be above a threshold. Is it 90%
No.
moth?
The worrying thing here is this could trigger Mothra,
Ooh.
and then we're in trouble.
When the world needed him most.
I think Mothra was a girl.
Oh, sorry. When the world needed her most.
Pretty sure she laid some eggs. Although Godzilla also laid an egg at one point.
Is Godzilla a girl?
See, that's the thing.
That's...
There's no canon. What is your favorite flavor of Doritos?
I don't really like Doritos that well.
Really?
No, I don't.
Not even a Cool Ranch?
I'll eat them from time to time, but like I don't seek them out. When I'm getting a gas station snack when I'm on a road trip, I never go for Doritos.
Wow. That's insane. But it's not as insane as this.
Doritos to release nacho cheese flavored alcoholic drink that tastes like crisps. This is a British story. Those are chips.
You ever just like take a sip of your mixed drink and think there's not enough nacho cheese flavor in here?
I wonder if that'd be good in a Bloody Mary.
Oh.
No, I bet it would. Are we gonna do a drunk news this year?
I mean, you and I guess could drink, but I think Wendell is still...
Yeah, Wendell's still probably out. We did fruit last year, which was not as exciting.
It's very different.
Yeah.
I just hate the idea of having to sit here afterwards.
Yeah, we have to wait.
We have to have an activity. And streaming from here is... I mean, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a mess.
This office has been completely repurposed.
Looted.
And here's something to watch out for if you're in I think this is also in the UK, right? Gov.uk. Prince's Beans. I don't know. Is that the blue?
The blue
iconic
can. I
blue
think that's
can?
Heinz. I don't know about
I think you're
Prince's.
right,
Yeah.
You know what? Just get the name brand, because if you don't,
Prince's group recalls various canned bean products because they may contain small rubber balls. What an unfortunate thing to notice while you're chewing your beans.
and it's so easy to hide among the beans.
Ugh.
And it's good to understand the animals. I wish I could talk to my cats.
I wish I could too, because Cricket's been an asshole this week.
Oh, Crouton is like, this winter, he's gone into a new kind of like neediness. I don't know what's going on.
I would
with him.
prefer that to whatever Cricket, because Cricket keeps getting on the counter. He knows he's not supposed to be up there. He waits till we're not looking at him. He gets on the counter and then he knocks over.
Crouton
stuff.
has also started wall jumping off the couch as one of his activities. Like he just spazzes out
Yeah.
and springs
Parkours.
off the couch and then meows at me. I don't know what it means. Maybe this research could lead us one day to that.
Scientists have reported a breakthrough in understanding whale language. And apparently they're screaming all the time.
Stop killing us. We're going to destroy your yachts. So
I crave yacht blood.
the big groundbreaking thing here is apparently they use vowels and they talk about. Have you ever heard of this word? What was it called?
I don't remember.
Diphthong.
That is a combination of two sounds. So like,
Coin.
yeah.
So whales have that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I learned that from Lord of the Rings with words like Ariendel.
Oh, exciting. How many of you knew that? You'll lie. Don't
Yeah.
even bother.
Don't even try to actually engage with it because we could use the comments, but
And here's a fun, perhaps a cautionary tale about cutting your own Christmas tree.
Kentucky family doesn't notice baby owl nesting in their Christmas tree for 4 days. How hungry was he?
They said that he looked a little emaciated.
Yeah, he probably
So what
would.
happened was these guys went on vacation and somebody came to clean the carpets. Carpet cleaner found the baby owl.
There's owl pellets all underneath the tree.
Yeah, that owl was pooping that entire time, right?
I would think.
At least they don't have the liquid poop. Or do they have both?
I think so. Well, they do they regurgitate too, which is gross.
That's going to be a fun little treasure under the tree. Huh? And if we can speak to the whales, then we're probably going to be able to speak to the dolphins, right? I'd like to hear what they have to say.
Red alert! Scientists have discovered a dolphin with thumbs. This is a weird little evolutionary feature that they've noticed.
Well, a lot of people in the quotes in this article was like, well, it's just a mutation. But it's like, bro, isn't that not how evolution is supposed to work?
Yeah, you get one weird mutation and then it happens to be useful and then you start to see it more.
Thumb dolphin is going to be the most popular dude in this entire ocean.
Yeah.
He's going to just be
He's always giving thumbs up to all the other dolphins.
all the women dolphins are like, oh my God, I want the thumbs up. And then all of a sudden there's
I
lots
crave
of
that validation.
there's so many thumb dolphins after that. That's how it works. It does take a while. I wish him luck.
I included this story because this is from August of the year 2000.
Oh my, this was pre 9/11. How simple our lives were.
The Onion says, dolphins evolve opposable thumbs. It's becoming real.
I'm ready for it. You know what? If the dolphins develop opposable thumbs and we can talk to them, pretty soon they're going to be taking Wendy's orders.
Oh, because you don't have to pay the dolphins. They don't have human rights.
They'll just boop the correct buttons. And then they'll be fed one shrimp every order.
They get asked to like, can you answer this question? And so they put the mic on. It's just, oh, we got the dolphin order.
You try to order the fish sandwich and they just won't let you do it. I guess they're mammals though. They wouldn't be.
They
friends
wouldn't
with the
care.
fish.
They eat fish.
And I bet this guy ate some fish.
Oh, absolutely. Pliosaur discovery. Huge sea monster emerges from Dorset cliffs.
In fact, they've got a mock-up here of
Look
him
how
eating a
cool.
fish.
Pretty big animal. And there's a picture further down of them. They found it, just the snout sticking out of the cliff. I also enjoyed this graphic. Only second to the T-Rex for bite damage.
What a stud.
Yeah. But they think the rest of it's still in the cliffside, so they're working on excavating it.
Now, if you're getting up there in years and you're thinking, what can I do to prolong this hell? One of the things that you might think about doing is get yourself a dog.
Oh, new study finds dog ownership reduces risk of disabling dementia by 40% in the elderly. Cats make no difference. I feel like our cat actively makes my sanity get a little worse.
But this is so shockingly obvious. This has nothing to do with the dog. It's the dog gets you out into the sun moving around 4 or 5 times a day or 3 or 4. How many times does Rue poop a day?
Probably 3. Well, she doesn't poop, but taking her out to pee 3 or 4 times usually.
Yeah. So cats, I can confirm this, they just lay on top of you and encourage you not to do anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't need the dog if you don't like dogs. Just go outside. You know what? You should start pooping and peeing outside. And then you don't need the dog.
That'll help your knees too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we take Rue out quite a bit. And Rue's, I don't know that it helps me get out that much, but it is nice to go out with her. She gets so excited to sniff everything.
And some people will cite that as a reason dogs are superior to cats. And then they will further argue that this is that. But I say, this is why I love them so much. This is what makes them.
Headline.
This is what they're such a treasure to have in your home because they are just little killers.
The murderous creature you live with is a murderous creature, a study confirms. That's what Cricket looks like. Well, he's not as fuzzy, but that's like the same murderous look he has.
So basically, they're just confirming that, yes, house cats are one of the biggest threats to almost every kind of biology in their area. They are apex predators and they're good at it.
They are. And they kill for fun. Like other animals, they kill because they're hungry for the most part, or if like they've been threatened in some way. Cats just kill like because, oh, this is funny to me to kill a lizard or a bird.
I remember one of the formative things of my childhood is we had a group of kittens. Like one of the cats at the house had kittens, and we were like, oh, look at these adorable kittens. And one day they got a hold of a lizard. And as a group, they tortured that lizard for upwards of 4 hours.
That's a horrible way to go. And
Yeah.
you watched it, which says something about you.
Well, I mean, like they were, if you tried to like go toward them, they would run and then the lizard would run and it would just prolong it.
Yeah.
And we're kind of like, let's just let the lizard die. I didn't want to kill a lizard personally. I was a young man.
You can say whatever you want to say.
But yeah, I was like, wow, these little lovable furballs, they've got no sense of empathy for this poor creature. And, there's that whole thing where when it stops responding, they get bored and they clean themselves for a while. And as soon as it tries to run, it's like, oh, round three.
There's another toy.
It's just laying there with holes in him.
Oh. I do love cats, and we have a lot of like barn cats that live out around where we live. I wish I could capture them and get them fixed so we would have less cats that wandered around.
But that's also the reason that we are friends with cats.
Yeah, they're great pest control.
Yeah. Cats came into our lives because we create pests, and we allowed it because they remove pests.
But I want to see more birds and things in our yard.
We
I'm
can't-
working on adding habitat for birds.
You can only have one way.
No, we'll have both.
It's either all murder or no cats.
I'd rather have no cats, to be honest.
That's the wrong choice.
At least no cats outside. Anyway, that has been a perfectly good week that you've wasted with us. We will see you next week, maybe with drunk news or something like that, some holiday themed news for you and your friends to share links with. Bye.